my name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Serving in Florida, written by Barbara Ehrenreich. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, in this piece by Barbara Ehrenreich, she's talking about people who live in the United States who work minimum wage jobs. This piece starts with her working as a server, working in hotels, working in restaurants, and she's only earning like $6 or $7 an hour, and it's just not enough to live on. The thing that's significant about this work, about Serving in Florida by Barbara Ehrenreich, she's not only showing you how difficult it is to live in the United States with earning so little. She's also showing you how people are treated when they're working these types of jobs. A lot of the people who work these types of jobs in the United States, they're foreigners, they're coming from other countries, they're immigrants, and they're doing anything that they can to survive. Their living conditions are not perfect. Some of them don't even have homes to live in. Some of them live in their cars, in mobile homes, in hotels, in motels, and they're all just trying to survive. Now, of course, in 2020, minimum wage in America has risen. In some places, people are earning $10 an hour, especially in New York. Some places you're getting $15 an hour. But when this piece was written, people around the United States, they were earning $6, $7 an hour. There are some states where $8 is quite common per hour, but you really can't do a lot, especially when you live in Florida, especially when you live in New York, where things are extremely expensive, where you're competing with people who make 4 or 5 times as much as you make, and you're competing with them for rental properties, you're competing with them for homes, you're competing with them for everything. There's no way you can compete when you're barely making $2,000 a month. So it's quite interesting that the lives that these people lead, and it's quite sad because you have people who are married, husband and wife, and they're working hard, they're working full-time jobs, and they're still not making enough to make rent, because when you're poor, when you're living at the poverty line, and Barbara Ehrenreich, she really explains this, because some of these people, they're living below and on the poverty line, and they're doing everything that they can to survive, but they can't seem to save enough to make that first down payment. When you go to rent an apartment or to buy a house, you have to make a down payment, and they just can't save that much money to make a down payment to keep or to rent out a place. So it's extremely difficult for them, and they just have to figure out a way to survive. And some of them, a lot of them are homeless. And it's something that's very difficult, because a lot of times when people see individuals who are homeless or living on the street, they always say you need to get a job, you need to stop being a bum and do this and that and the third. And it's not that simple. Some of these people that you see that are homeless, they still have jobs, they still have work that they go to, but the fact is they still don't make enough to get a place to live. And when you see this in terms of literature, you see this through the eyes of a person. You see this on paper, it really brings a different perspective of how crafty these people are to survive on what they're making, and the level of disrespect, the level of shame that's put on them by their managers, by their bosses. It's really difficult, because the thing is, like, Barbara Ehrenreich, in one of the restaurants she was working in, or in one of the hotels she was working in, she had to get drug tested. And imagine you're working hard, you're working 2 jobs, and your manager doesn't trust you, your boss doesn't trust you, the company that you work for doesn't trust you, and they're making you drug tests and all types of checks on you. They're looking at lockers, they're looking at bags. They just don't trust you. They don't trust you. They think that you might steal from them, that you might do something that is hurting the company in some ways. But the things, like, most of the people there, they're just trying to earn that $6-7 an hour just to survive. And you're getting disrespected by the customers, you're getting disrespected by your employer, by your core workers, and there's gossip, there's drama. There's a lot of things you go through in situations like that, and they're not simple jobs. A lot of people think that minimum wage are just you just show up and you earn $6 or $7 an hour. But during this time, you have to put a lot of work into it. Even when a business is slow, you have to work hard, because if you're not working hard, your manager is going to give you something tough to do. And this piece doesn't end in a happy way. This Serving in Florida is actually from Nickel and Dime by Barbara Ehrenreich. And it really shows you how you can survive or exist with a minimum wage job. But at the same time, it shows you how difficult that life is, because when Barbara Ehrenreich gets two jobs to make ends meet, she basically can't move. She's tired all the time. She can't have a regular meal. She's eating fast food. And you can see, if you work minimum wage your entire life and you're always living on paycheck to paycheck, there's no way you're going to live long, because first of all, a lot of these people, they don't have health insurance. They're eating fast food and they have to eat quick. They have to eat fast. They can't spend a lot on things that they don't need. Their entire paycheck has to go towards their living situations. If you're tired, if there's like a surprise expense that shows up at some point in the month, it's a shocker because you didn't plan for it, right? If there's an emergency, if there's a medical emergency that comes up, if you don't have any health insurance and you're earning minimum wage, you're just digging a hole for yourself because you didn't plan for it and you don't have money to cover that. So that's what life is for them. There's also like a dig on Haitian people in this piece, where the manager kind of say that Haitians are taking over Florida because there's just so many of them working these jobs. But the thing is, like, all these people, they're just trying to make ends meet. They're just trying to survive. They're just trying to exist. And the ending doesn't end well. It just, Barbara Ehrenreich, she had two jobs. She had to leave one because it was just too much for her. And that's the end of Serving in Florida. That's the piece. You get a taste of culture. You get a taste of how these people are existing. And there's a blend of them. There's Americans, all types of different backgrounds, Hispanics, white individuals, black individuals. They're all working minimum wage all across America, and they're all just trying to make ends meet. Some of them don't even have enough money to pay for their rent. In terms of analysis, I think if you're a person that has a well-paying job and you're not breaking your back to pay for your mortgage or your apartment, you have to take a closer look at some of the people that you always call bums, or people you say that they're not working hard enough, because in fact they are working hard enough. But you can have a full-time job, you can have two full-time jobs, but in certain cities across the United States, things are so expensive. Renting an apartment is so expensive that no matter how hard you work, you just can't afford it. If an average apartment is like $3,000, $4,000, and you're only making $2,000 a month, you're just never going to have enough to afford an apartment like that. And there are certain cities in Florida and New York, and major cities across the United States, where expenses are just a lot, and no matter what you do, you just can't afford them. So they're not just being bums. Sometimes you just can't find a way to afford it. But the thing is, like, you do have to admire the diligence and the hard work of these people, because even though that they're working hard, they're breaking their backs to make ends meet, they're still finding a way to survive. They're still finding a way to keep going. They're still finding a way to stay alive. They have to be very crafty, very smart about what they do and about how they live their lives. And it's really interesting and significant that no matter what these people go through, they're always working hard, and they're always trying to find a way out of poverty, trying to find a way out of the horrible lives that they lead, because they're always saving, they're always finding a way to join together. Because one thing that's extremely smart that they do within this piece, you see that a lot of these immigrants, what they do is they get a place between the 4, 5, 6 of them, and they rent out a place together. And if you're smart, you can save your money, even though living in a small apartment with like 6, 7 people is horrific. But if you do that, you save your money over time. Maybe you can save enough to get a mortgage, or get an apartment, or figure out a way to get out of poverty and to make a life for yourself. So that's my summary analysis of Serving in Florida by Barbara Ehrenreich. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.